Well, hello everyone. We are back. I'm Peter, and you are?
I am Will.
Okay. I'm going to call you Pastor Whedon, though, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Although I might call you Will. I don't know. This is a pretty informal
It's informal, and we've known each other for a few years.
just a few, yeah. You don't even remember the first time we met. Remember
I
I sent
do.
you that video, and
you was at Senate Convention, right? Wasn't it?
It might have. Well, no, we did a video, remember? A live video thing, and I interviewed you, and you didn't even remember that it had happened.
No, wait a minute. That's the one that I did in my office after I was at Senate.
I think so.
Yeah, no, we met before that though, because we met at Senate Convention.
So I don't remember meeting you.
So you didn't remember.
So it's on. Yeah, it's me.
Fault. Yeah. That was up in Milwaukee, I think, or no? It was. No,
that
was
been
too
before
late.
that.
It was before that because it was. I don't remember where.
Well, the main point is, I'm excited that I get to help you out with your podcast and
I'm
doing this
excited
now.
that you get
That's
to
the
too.
important part. We've known each other for a while, and I get to dig deep into Scripture with you. And today, we're answering another listener question.
I love it.
Yeah.
Go
So
for it.
if you saw our last one, those of you who are watching here, we answered Megan's question, and we have a question from Christopher on Matthew. So here's how this works. I don't know if I explained it well last time. Yeah, we'll see.
You did say try to keep it on the book we're studying, which I appreciate.
Pastor Whedon's podcast, The Word of the Lord Endures Forever, is currently going through the book of Matthew. And so we want you guys to send in your questions about the book of Matthew, and maybe he'll answer them. Well, what we'll try and do is answer them here in the videos. Obviously, we can't get to all of them because time and whatnot. So we'll pick ones and hopefully get to your question. Today we're getting to Christopher's question. So let's get into it.
I'm ready.
We'll have a conversation. So Christopher asks a fantastic Lutheran question. What does this mean? I desire mercy and not sacrifice, from Matthew 9:13. And then in Matthew 12:7-8, it says, if you had known what this means, I desire mercy and not sacrifice, you would not have condemned the guiltless, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. So he's seeing Jesus quote those two things, or them being quoted in two different locations, and he's asking the good Lutheran question, the good Christian question, what does this mean?
What does it mean? And it is great. There's a couple things that are worth noting before we actually answer the question, what does this mean?
Okay.
This is, as Pastor David Peterson pointed out, maybe Jesus' favorite Bible passage because it's the only one he quotes twice and in different contexts. And as we've noted going through Matthew, Jesus seems to have a predilection for what we call the Book of the 12, the minor prophets.
Okay.
He goes to them again and again and again. And this is an instance from the minor prophets. He's going to Hosea and quoting from Hosea. But to get at what it means, you have to ask the question, what is mercy? Chesed, what is this thing that's being described there? Remember, we were made in the image of God. God made us to reflect himself. What is at the heart of God? Mm-hmm. He is mercy. That is who he is. And he desires that to be reflected in our life. And there's a problem sometimes that religious people have. It's that instead of reflecting on that and receiving God's mercy and then showing mercy, they try to get right with God by throwing sacrifices his way. God gets so upset with this through the prophets. Sometimes he even says, I never commanded you about sacrifices. And you're like, oh, yes, you did.
That's right here. I can see it.
Pages after pages in the Old Testament.
Hello,
on the sacrifices.
Leviticus.
But he's like, I never commanded you to throw sacrifices my way, as though that could substitute for you being transformed by my mercy and you being merciful to one another. In both instances in Matthew, Jesus' disciples were being criticized, and he comes back with, look, I'm looking for mercy in your life. That's what Yahweh is after. He wants mercy to be shown to each other. That's what I've come into the flesh to do, to show great mercy to the people of God.
So, but put that way, it sounds like God is saying, I want you to work. I want you to do something. But like in a, I don't know, if you're really my follower, you're going to, I don't know, it sounds like a works righteousness kind of thing to me, phrased that way. What do we do with that? Because now it's like, don't do this work. Go over and do that work. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Sure. Well, it begins with the fact that mercy is who he is. And it is his mercy that transforms and transfigures us. The mercy that shows up in our lives is not the result of our dint and effort. It is the result of having been mercied and loved by God. Having his steadfast love, his unshakable love given to us, turns us into lovers. And so the key is, if you need to have mercy in your life, not for you to try harder, the key is for you to feast on the mercy that is Yahweh's joy to give to you.
Excellent. I like that. I suppose that's good, since it's a Christian answer, that I should like that, right?
I hope so.
So is Matthew, who is he quoting? I didn't look this up before we talked here, but where is Matthew pulling this from? That he's mentioning it twice. Which prophet? Do you remember?
It's Hosea. Hosea 6.
Okay.
Hold on. Did I say Hosea 6? I think it's Hosea 6. I need to look it up myself.
See, this is why these conversations are informal, because we're just kind of talking back and forth.
Yeah, I didn't look up the actual passage again because
we planned
done it
Christopher's question, and then we just go from there, right?
Yeah, 1 second. Hosea. Yeah, Hosea 6. 6:6. It's easy to remember. I should remember
There you
that.
go.
For I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. I wanted you to know who I am, not just that you throw sacrifices my way.
I've done my deeds. I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to go live my life however I want. I'm going to do my own thing because
I'm going to disregard my neighbor, and I'm going to criticize my neighbor and judge my neighbor. Kind of ties to what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher, thank you for the great question.
Great question, man.
We're moving into Princess Bride territory here. Thank you for the great question, Christopher. You guys, if you have questions that you want Pastor Whedon to answer right now, we're going through the book of Matthew on the podcast. Be doing that for the next couple months. We're going to be doing these videos a little more regularly, sprinkling them in here and there, answering your questions. So you can post them as comments on Facebook, comments on Twitter, comments on Instagram, even on YouTube, and you can even send them directly to Pastor Whedon. What email should they use for that to get the questions directly to you?
Oh, I think it's whedon@wordendures.org, but I'm not entirely sure.
Or contact@thewordendures.org.
That works.
I know that one works.
That works.
Yep.
Contact@thewordendures.org, and the good deaconess will make sure they land in my inbox.
Yep. Now, we can't promise to answer all the questions, because this all takes time, and hopefully we'll get lots of good questions. But you're in the process of writing your podcast episodes, right? Isn't that? Tell a little about your process of how you actually do the podcast.
Okay. I look at the text and study it, read what the fathers have to say about it, and try to understand how it fits in with what we've done before, context-wise. And then I sit down and I write it out. Everything that I do is scripted. So it's all written from start to finish. I think of them as little sermons. So I create one for each of the podcasts. And then I think that Lutheran Public Radio offers them for a contribution. You can, I don't remember how much they ask for them. You can get the copy of the text.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and what's really cool is, because I don't edit them, I'm just writing them, and I don't really care. Deaconess cares, and she's like a Nazi on this. She's like, you didn't give a citation on that. All right. So I have to go back and find out exactly where it came from and give the reference.
Is it APA? Is it MLA? Is it Chicago? What?
We don't do any of that. None of that.
You just need to know where was this in
it's
the
like,
Bible?
It's just so that people want to know where a quote from a father came from.
Sure.
Where can they find that?
Yeah.
I do need to supply those. Or if I quote a later theologian, where was that from? And it was, so Lynn is really, really helpful, and because I just sometimes forget to put it in there, and she's like, "No, always put that in there." Yeah. So very, very helpful, and she fixes all the grammatical bloopers or in the typos too. There's lots of typos.
Yep. Now the reason I asked is so you guys who are out there watching know when you send him a question, maybe as he's writing. Now you're not going to name people and say, "Hey, so and so had a question." I don't think the podcast works that way, but your question may influence your thoughts.
Absolutely.
As you're writing, it might end up in there.
And not just your questions, but also if you have a particular insight. That would be great.
Yep.
I mean, I've used several times my reference to Jonah dying and rising. I didn't think of that. That was a vicar of mine that actually commented that one to me one day and said, I think he died in the big fish. And that's the point of the whole story. And I was like, whoa, mind blown. All of a sudden, Jesus' constant use of Jonah makes so much sense. And then him going out to proclaim repentance to Nineveh, and then God forgiving the sins of the Gentiles in Nineveh. I mean, whoa. So it's big that way. So if you guys got any of those gems, you fork them over to me now. I'll be happy to steal them lock, stock, and barrel, and I'll try to give you credit.
I've heard you mention our friend Kevin every once in a while.
Oh, I steal from Kevin all the time.
All right. Well, thank you for this conversation.
Hey, thank you
for Christopher this was Christopher's. Yeah, Christopher. Oh, I think they might have figured out we're recording several in a row right now and releasing them later. We'll edit that out later. Just kidding. Christopher, thank you for the great question, sending it in. You guys, did I already say how they can send it? I said, yeah, I did. We
think
went
so.
through all that.
Yep, contact.
Great.
Yep.
Don't forget, subscribe to the podcast, thewordendures.org. You can get it on all your favorite apps. I've got it on my Beyond Pod as the app. I just searched it, and there it is, and that's how I listen. It's on iTunes. It's on Spotify. Are you on Pandora yet? Did you know you can get your podcast on Pandora?
I'm an Apple guy, so I'm content with what's in Apple.
Well, there you go. There it is. Anywhere, basically anywhere you can find the podcast. So make sure you subscribe to that. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube.
Sounds good.
Any other things?
I think that's it.
Now, I don't know when we're putting this one out, so maybe the Advent thing is going on. You've got an Advent devotional. If this is after December 1st, just send an email. Say, there's an Advent devotional. I heard something about it. I need a devotion for Advent. And somebody will reply and tell you what you can do to get that.
We'll happily get you some.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Pastor Whedon.
Hey,
and we'll
thank
talk
you.
to you next time.
All righty.